Welcome to Autistic Philosophy, the channel where I just bitch and rant about whatever I feel like and question my relation to this strange ass world. I'm Kevin Cass, the Autistic Wizard. First disclaimer. There's a lot of bad language in this. You probably shouldn't watch it past this sentence. Trigger warning. The following opinions or views expressed may make you extremely butthurt. You might cry, scream, throw a tantrum, and there's a small chance you might actually understand it. The following is an information piece, a work of opinion, and hopefully this gets me a little bit past the censors to be allowed to express it. These topics are becoming slowly more okay to talk about, but with my type of humor, directness, and how far I like to take things, we shall see if this video survives. That said, we'll start immediately with an offensive picture. It's Geppetto. The following views doesn't mean that every person fits into these categories and stereotypes, by the way, and serves more as a cynical and somewhat musing list of everything wrong with the LGBT that is essentially putting your foot in your mouth. How they get in their own way. It is a little bit pushing and trolling. It started as a comment that will likely get me banned again from Facebook when someone asked why I said my condolences to one of these struggling groups, because I never want to be in your shoes. As quickly as I can. I'm a real boy. Don't ban me. I was asked. You'll notice the language is deliberately triggering, but the points are very fucking valid. I really care for people's mental health, the trans and the cis. The world is working very hard to give mental health treatment to the handicapped instead of embracing the codependent dysphoric identity issues. There is a consistent major decline in support all over the spectrum and all over the world for this stuff after years of transparent observation has shown the true colors of the group whose sensitivities are pandered to, and the anger, the hatred, and prejudice towards outsiders of the LGBT by the LGBT. It all ran too rampant and eventually embarrassed itself into oblivion to the point of no longer being able to hide its lunacy, to make it extremely hard for many to knowingly enable a person with codependency, depression, dysphoria, and more. Trans women are women is a statement that nukes itself. It would be saying women are women if they were. The codependency needing extra people similarly dressed or feeling uncomfortable in your own skin until the public worships, modifies speech and pronouns and other extra just so that you love yourself, which is no one's responsibility to do for you, as well as the violent outlashing of this technicolor community against the emotional or imaginarily perceived threats. An example, the unisex word dude being misgendering a man that believes he's a woman and might otherwise have known she was supported. Additionally, the crowding and obstruction of city streets and the prevention of actual 9-to-5ers making it to their destination without their cars beaten and or completely stalled in consideration of singing and at times screaming loiterers in the middle of the street. The kind of people that will lay down in front of a car and call themselves suppressed if they get ran over. The graffiti, the spam on the streets and spray paint and in the movies and the TV and every other unrelated to the plot or characters' gay sex scenes, lip-syncing professional artists such as Reba McEntire, dressed in drag, providing absolutely no talent, stealing the work of someone else and getting paid for walking or a performance, the repainting of roads without a public consensus taken, the demand of respect rather than the earning of respect, the permanent irreversible reproductive organ destroying chemical castration of themselves and or their children to preserve ideology over biology, the needing of being talked to a certain way to avoid volume, anger, and violence from someone who identifies different without a name tag to presume and know that. It isn't just a personal opinion to be sympathetic and sad for the LGBTQP's lack of personal health interests, therapy, medication, or interest in functioning society. It's not an unusual opinion at all. Support all over the world in just about every capacity for the LGBTQP is dying. The more exposure these groups get, the more pushback they start to receive. The overwhelming lust factor, bug catching, the art of intentionally contracting and collecting STDs. Seriously, look at Wikipedia. Now let's look at some facts. Federal shifts. Recent federal proposals have sought to eliminate funding for the LGBTQ plus youth suicide prevention services and restrict gender markers on official documents. Social impact. The 2024 GLAAD report noted a 109% increase in documented anti-LGBTQ plus incidents compared to the previous year. Same-sex marriage. Support dropped to 54% in late 2025, down from a record high of 70 to 71% just a few years prior. It's a downhill graph. Non-discriminatory protection. Support for laws protecting the LGBTQ plus people in housing and employment fell from 80% in 2022 to 75% in 2024. Transgender rights. As early as 2025, 49% of Americans support requiring transgender individuals to use bathrooms matching their sex at birth, while 47% actually favor making it illegal for schools to teach about gender identity, in elementary school especially. Gender-affirming care. 69% of young men aged 18 to 29 now believe that gender-affirming medical care for minors should be illegal. State legislation. As of late 2025, 29 states have adopted at least one law restricting transgender rights, such as bans on gender-affirming care or bathroom access. Federal executive orders. In 2025, federal executive actions redefined gender to include only male and female, ended funding for gender-affirming care, and removed gender self-identification on federal documents. So there you go, as quick as I could do that. In a nutshell, everything wrong with how you're destroying your own image. It's not an isolated, unique, individual opinion of mine, but yet it is my opinion. It's a growing consensus of a worldly opinion on a bad trend killing itself, unaliving itself. The fact is, where you love yourself without the codependency issues and the extra stuff, as ill as you want to be, would be perfectly acceptable as any other ill person in the world that doesn't fit that umbrella. But the demanding of respect, the needing for worship, the obstruction of other people's lives that don't already understand or support, depending on the context and the person where you're at, you get in your own way of progress. And this is the case of many grumps. I hope you enjoyed that rant. I know it was highly offensive to some of you, but I actually encourage you to ask questions. How about you tell me what you agree with? You tell me what you disagree with, it'd be just like me telling you that just then. Never going to be good, looking for everybody else's approval. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Are you tired of this shit too? Is there a fatigue, as the popular buzzword goes, from constant exposure to this ridiculous shit in cartoons for children that shouldn't even be considering straightness, really? It shouldn't be on the table, so why would it be with gayness, What do you think? But hey, what do I know? I'm just autistic.